happiness is defined by us, whereas success often is defined by the outside world. So
True.
we can own our happiness, right? Happiness, I believe, is an inside job. Happiness is up to me. It's up to you, right? Your definition of happiness is different than mine, likely, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that because I don't need you to be happy, and you don't need me to be happy. You can be happy all on your own, and I think that's a big miss for folks. Your point about happy until happy. Oh, I'm not happy until, or I'm not successful until. You know what? I think that's a choice, man. We can choose that, and that's really a big deal for people. My first book many years ago, I wrote 10 Ways to Make It Great because I believe that it's all about a choice that we make, right? Make is really creative. It's like making bread.
Yeah.
Making is a process, right? Or if you're Canadian, it's a process.
Hi there. I am Ravi Tangri, and this is SOULgineering, your life and work. This is about how do you bring more heart, more soul into all of your life, into your work, into your play, into your community, into your family, everything that you do. And today, we're going to dive into a quote that a friend of mine posted, and it really got to me. And I'll give you the quote right now. It's by Ingrid Bergman, and she said, "Success is getting what you want. Happiness is wanting what you get." And I think this is at the root of either really having fulfilling life or a lot of the emptiness that people are feeling. And so I invited my friend who posted this, a friend who I've known through in the professional speaking industry, but who's now making a transition back into teaching. I'd like to welcome Phil Gerbyshak.
Hey, what's up, Ravi? It's great to see you, my friend.
Good to see you as well. This is wonderful. And I was like, when you posted this, I just went, wow. And I'll tell you briefly my take on it is that our society is so focused on success. And it's success, this says, is getting what you want. So you're not successful until you accomplish the goal. And then you'll feel great for a
10
week,
minutes.
a day, 10 minutes, and then you're a failure again until you get to your next goal. Whereas happiness is about the journey, it's about wanting what you get and being happy throughout. That's my take on it. I don't know for you, how does that quote resonate for you?
Well, I think a lot the same. The only thing I would add is that happiness is defined by us, whereas success often is defined by the outside world. So
True.
we can own our happiness, right? Happiness, I believe, is an inside job. Happiness is up to me. It's up to you, right? Your definition of happiness is different than mine, likely, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that because I don't need you to be happy, and you don't need me to be happy. You can be happy all on your own, and I think that's a big miss for folks. Your point about happy until happy. Oh, I'm not happy until, or I'm not successful until. You know what? I think that's a choice, man. We can choose that, and that's really a big deal for people. My first book many years ago, I wrote 10 Ways to Make It Great because I believe that it's all about a choice that we make, right? Make is really creative. It's like making bread.
Yeah.
Making is a process, right? Or if you're Canadian, it's a process. So I get that. And it's really important, I believe, that people understand that about happiness and really if we define and if we go that way, then we don't need success. We can let other people have their success and we can just be happy. And I think that's enough.
That's fascinating. I'd forgotten that. Yeah, happy. I love that. Happiness is an inside job. And yeah, a lot of times we set goals, but is it really ours or is it defined by what we think others should be? And I think a lot of people, you could even redefine goal. Happiness, people don't feel that they can be happy unless they are things that are defined by other people,
Yeah,
right? So that's again taking the external, and to me that's another quote unquote measure of success. This is what society thinks I should be
absolutely.
for happy. And I don't think our society supports people being happy with where you are. It's all about you need more. You have to have more. You're not good enough. You're not this.
That's capitalism, right? That's really at its core. Capitalism is all about overconsumption. I need more. I've got one, I want two. I want two, I got four. I got four, I got eight. I always want more. And I think it's so sad that we can't be happy where we are right today. I mean, I'm happy right now. My life is far from perfect. I'm happy right now. I get to spend time with my friend Ravi. This is awesome. There's nothing more that I need right now. Long term, maybe I have other things that I need, but I can't worry about that. That just stresses me out. So instead, I'm going to focus on the right now. I'm going to be present with you, and we're going to have a great time, a great conversation. And then afterwards, I'm going to do something else that's going to make me happy.
Yeah.
I'm going to choose to be happy with that. And then I'm going to choose to be happy with the next thing. And I say, make me happy because I choose, right? I get to create that, not make like it's the outside thing that's making me happy. I think that's the big difference because it's inside. It's always inside. What do I want to do? I play pinball a lot. I love to play pinball. Everywhere I go, I try to find a pinball machine, at least one.
Okay.
And so why do I do that? Because pinball is something that I choose that makes me happy. It reminds me of my mom. It reminds me of my brothers. It reminds me of growing up. And it reminds me that life is kind of bouncy, bouncy all over the place. That I can't control that. It's going to make some noises, it's going to make some beeps. Sometimes it's going to suck right down the middle. That's okay. But I'm still going to get back up and I'm still going to play again. So pinball is kind of a good metaphor for my life anyway.
Well, also with that, I'm thinking, tell me if I'm wrong, but you have to be, in order to play pinball, you've got to be really present. You can't be thinking about 10 other things. And I think what you're getting at here, what you're talking about is that presence and mindfulness being here. Like for me, one of the joys for me is dance. And dance is a mindfulness practice because I'm a lead. So when I'm working with my partner, I'm choreographing in that instant. I can't be thinking about, oh, I messed this up in that meeting. I've got this coming up tomorrow. I have to be 1,000% with my partner and the music to sense where they're at, to sense what's happening in the music, to choreograph in that instant. And I think that's, for me, part of the reason that it's so much joy. And people have difficulty understanding that. Like even a crazy fast salsa is a mindfulness practice
Absolutely.
because I'm there. But is that not the same for you when you're playing pinball? You've got to be fully there to really play.
Yeah, you have to be one with the board. Because you get one ball at a time and then you get multi-ball. And it's crazy. The game kind of shifts. You go from being really strategic to just kind of responding. When you get more than one ball, the goal is just to keep the balls alive. Whereas when you have one ball, the goal is to shoot it up the ramps, to get it other places, to do some things. But ultimately, you want to get multiple balls. Well, multiple balls is chaos. It's almost you can't control it. So I love that. And to your point about being present, absolutely, Ravi, you have to be present.
Yeah.
You have to be fully present with that ball, with the balls, with the table. You have to watch where it's going to bounce and how it's going to go, what it's going to bump into on the way there. And is there a ladder? Is there a chute? Is there a ramp? What is there, right? Is there one of my favorite games is Funhouse. Well, Funhouse has this crazy dummy. He's like, oh, he's like one of those the wooden dummies that we used to have that were ventriloquist dummies.
Yeah.
He looks like, right? So he's got a little chomping mouth, and that's what he looks like. And your goal is to hit it in the mouth. Well, unless the mouth is closed, then you can't hit it in the mouth. Then the goal is to knock open the mouth. Then once you get the mouth open, then the goal is to hit it in there. Then once it is, then it's to put it in another spot. So it's being present and then getting the next goal. But you got to be happy with what you got right now, because right now is all I got. It's all I can control, really. And honestly, let's be honest, Ravi, I can't even control the right now, but I can
That's
control
right.
my thoughts and I can control my thoughts. I can control how under control that I feel, not necessarily how under control I am.
Yeah. And it's funny when you say that, and it's true. People live under the delusion that they are in control. And I say delusion, not illusion. There's nothing you control, I agree, except our thoughts and our attitude, as Viktor Frankl said. But let's go back to what you said. It was fascinating what you said, that when you get multiple balls, and it immediately made me think of people talk about how in life you're juggling so many balls. And I wonder if part of the problem there is that we are trying to control and think and analyze what's happening, as opposed to how did you describe it? You just had to be there and be responsive to what's going on.
Right. So if we think about pinball, the balls come down, and our goal is just to keep them alive. The goal is just to hit them, with the flipper. You have one thing you can hit it with. You got a flipper. Now maybe you've got another flipper up here at the top of the board. Maybe you've got another flipper over here at the other top. But most of the time you've got two flippers. And that's all you can control is two flippers. To your point, your attitude, right? And your thoughts. That's all we can control. So we flip it, flip it, flip it. And if we just keep those two alive, those two flippers alive, not the two balls, because there might be three balls. Sometimes there's four balls that
Right.
come out. We can keep those little flippers alive. We can go. Because once the flippers die, that's when we tilt the machine because we play too hard. I've tilted machines before. Sometimes I get too into it, right? I like to move when I play. Well, sometimes the machine likes it and sometimes it tilts. Well, the machine tilts and now the flippers go dead. The balls still move. Balls come right down the center or on the sides. Now the balls are gone.
Yeah.
Now my flippers are dead. So now I have to get back to, okay, let's tee it up one more time. If I have a ball left, and sometimes we run out of balls, just like sometimes we run out of time.
Right. So let's take that back to life. I mean, if a lot of people, when they are dealing with a lot of intense stuff, they are, the attitude and your thoughts are what you control. And they get stressed, they get fearful, they get focused on the worst possible case scenario. Correct? So all of a sudden, we've lost all the leverage that we really truly have in life.
Yep, that's right. We've lost all use of the levers, of the flippers that we have in life. Absolutely. Life is a lot like a pinball game. And this is the first time I'm really thinking about it, right, in an intense way, but I totally agree with that. I think once we lose our leverage, our levers, once we lose what the motion is, once we lose our thought, we get off track and we worry about stuff we shouldn't worry about. We don't worry about happiness anymore or focus on being happy. Instead, we worry about success and other stuff that doesn't always serve us all that well. And it makes us sad. Oh no, I didn't do this. Oh no, I didn't do that. Oh, I can't be happy yet. Bullshit. Be happy right now. Just choose it. Just be happy right now with what you got. It's not
Well,
perfect, but it's good enough.
well, I go back with that to Viktor Frankl, who wrote Man's Search for Meaning and other books. He was a survivor of the Nazi concentration camps.
Yep.
And he said that even in those situations, the difference between those who not just physically survived, but mentally, emotionally survived, was those who gave up versus those who, how can you find something that's positive? Okay, well, if I look out this way from my bunk, I can see a little bit of a window and there's blue sky there, and I'm going to focus on that blue sky. And it's those people that found those little cracks, bits of blue, that emotionally and spiritually survived much more strongly than those who didn't. And, I know, look, I don't mean to dismiss anyone's challenge. We all have had different challenges in our life, but I don't think anybody can say they've had it worse than the Nazi concentration camps. So
I
for
don't,
me, that's not a dismissing what I went through. It's going, okay, if it can be done there, how could I make it work for me?
and that's the big question that we have to ask ourselves is how can I make it work for me?
Yeah,
Once we ask that question, I think we get more of a B state than a do state. And it's really helpful. How can I, right? How can I? That's a big thing, right? Our friend Joe Fingerhut talks about that. That's his big thing. How can I? How can I? Really
yeah,
important. You have to ask ourselves that because we usually can. I say usually because I would never say always, but we usually have some agency over something. We can think about our thoughts differently or we can be a little different right now. And that's
right.
all. That's all I got. And so, yeah, if I can do that, I can live a happy life. If not, it's going to be a sad life.
Well, and I think to me, I find if I'm truly being, I'm not in my thoughts. I've shut my thoughts off. If because I think the stress, the not happy, the the failure, all of that comes from your head, from your thinking. You talked about we have a choice between doing and being. I think it's also between thinking goes hand in hand with doing, and being is about being present. But people have so much trouble getting out of their thoughts. Some people think they are their thoughts.
Well, we think that we be, and we can't think be. You think do. So just be present. And I struggled with this for a long time, Ravi. Long time. I didn't get this. I didn't get this. I didn't get being fully present. I would be sort of present, but I didn't get the being fully present. And now I have focus. Now I'm right where I am. That's all the place I am. I can just be right here. Phone is turned over, right? I'm not watching my phone. I have my phone here. So over here. It's out of sight. I'm not looking at my phone. I'm not thinking about it.
So tell me, how did you learn to be fully present?
I took a vacation. And what I did is I turned off all my notifications except for two apps.
Oh, so not a physical vacation to
Yeah.
go
No,
somewhere.
I went somewhere, but I also
Okay.
turned off all my apps. That was
Okay.
because I'd never taken a vacation before where I'd ever done that. Because I was a VP of IT, I used to get 400 to 600 pings a day. Bing, 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 bing. That was my life.
Dopamine hits.
Yeah, all day long. And so I decided I was not working in my job anymore. I left being a VP of IT. I left my BlackBerry and my pager with them, and I just had my phone. So I decided, let's try to turn all the notifications off except for two. One thing where my assistant could get to me, and one thing where my family could get to me. That was it. That was all. And so once I did that, and I recognized that, boy, life is really different now. I
You
can,
must have gone into shock.
oh, yeah, the first 3 days were horrible. It was horrible. I'm like, what? Is nobody thinking about me? What's going on? I don't know. Is my world falling apart? So I would check in with my assistant real quick. Hey, so how are things? She's like, they're fine. Anything need my attention? No. I'm like, really? She's like, yep, nothing. I'm like, okay, I'll check in with you later. So I'd check in with her 8 hours later. Like I promised, I'd check in around the beginning of the day and the end of the day. Nope, still nothing. Okay. And after 3 days, the next 3 days were bliss. The next 3 days I could be present. And so after that, now I don't have a lot of notifications on my phone. I don't get so many dopamine hits. I don't have any Facebook pings, no Facebook Messenger ping. I don't have any of the social media apps don't notify me at all. The only thing that pings me is my text message and my phone. That's it. And most people
Okay.
don't text me.
So, okay, that brings up a couple of questions for here.
Yeah,
First of all, tell me, am I right or wrong? A lot of people, particularly in leadership, need to feel important because, or feel important because of how many pings they get, and
absolutely.
that people have to consult them for every decision.
Well, not
Yes?
every decision, but even many decisions, let's say.
Yeah.
Because, I don't think any leader anymore is completely micromanaging. Not many anyway, because they know it doesn't work, but they micromanage as much as they can. So they want many. They want many responsibilities. It's not just one person that can replace me now. It's four, it's eight, it's 10 people that can replace me. It takes more. And how is that judged? Well, based on numbers, based on success, based on the fact that to be successful, that means that people are asking me questions after hours.
Right.
But I would say success means that after hours, you don't have to work anymore.
That you've developed your people so that they can look after
That's
it.
right. That's right. They
Right.
can handle it without you. And if they really need you, they have a way to get a hold of you. But
So
the
this,
routine is gone. The routine of check, 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 check is over.
but this is a harsh truth. I've worked with a lot of my coaching clients, that to realize that there's a sense of importance that's drawn from how many, like you said, 400 to 600 emails a day that you had bings for, right? It's bonkers. Like, I don't put those sort of notifications on, like, they don't bing for me. I have times when I'll go do my email. I'm sorry, nothing and nobody is that, critical, that I have to respond that minute to
They
everything.
can call.
Yeah, exactly.
And seldom is anything that important.
Right.
Seldom.
So the second question I have then is that's, where does the leader's sense of importance come from? Does it come from I have a team that can do this, or they need me and I get all the bings? The second question is for leaders as well, but for everyone, social media bings. I mean, I'm amazed. Sometimes I meet a friend for coffee or, and the amount of ding, 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 like all the different notifications they have, and also the doom scrolling that, you talk about not feeling successful. You look at social media and how people try to convey that they are successful.
So interesting, isn't it?
And it makes you feel more, I'm not enough. So how can someone break away from that just cold turkey? Like I do believe there's an addictive element to this. Do you think people can break away from that? Is it cold turkey?
I think cold turkey is probably the best way because cold turkey breaks you completely out and then you can wean back in. I think if you let yourself, if you feel addicted, if you feel like it's too much, if you feel overwhelmed, then definitely you should stop cold turkey for a week. Just turn it off. Again, do like I did, turn it off except for two. I had a special texting app for my assistant and then my phone was on. That was it. That's all I let happen. Well, if that's the case, I still know that emergencies can get through. So I still have some peace of mind knowing that if it's super important, it still can get me. I mean, people can call you, but I'll tell you what, though, if people call you, they're thinking about it before they call. Oh, geez, do I really want to bother Ravi with this?
Right. No one calls anymore. They text or email.
Right. Well, that's because I think we recognize nothing is that important. Well, as a sender, if we realize that, why as a receiver don't we realize that? Why as a recipient don't we realize that? And I think that's because we let people determine our own happiness. We let people determine our success. We let other people have agency over us. Well, take the agency back, man. Either stop cold turkey with just a couple apps so that the emergency can get through, or if you try to wean, but I'll tell you, weaning is tough, man. If there's cookies in the fridge, I'm going to eat them.
Yeah.
I'm going to eat them.
Yeah. And I I'm going to go back to that vacation that you took. What were I want to find ways that can help people listening to this who might do this. What were things during those first 3 days you did to support yourself through that, letting go through that?
Pick the phone up and
Mhm.
then I would put it back down. I would pick it up and I'd put it down or I would message my assistant. Nothing still. Really? Like nothing that requires my urgent attention. Well, at the end of the week, I had a to-do list of about 7 things. Well, 7 things, but I probably had 150 emails that I didn't read. 7 actionable items in a week.
Okay.
And I was running a consulting business at the time.
Right.
Like, I my money depended on doing work for other people. But so I had to let that go. I had to take a vacation, basically shut off my bank account for a week to make that work, like a
Right.
salesperson would, because that was my life. Okay. So now what? So I would do other things. Sometimes I would chew gum, because I would have that, or sometimes, I would listen to music. If I was reaching for the phone, I'd pick the phone up and I'd listen to music instead. Put in my headphones and I'd listen to music. Really hard though. Really hard. But after 72 hours, I felt pretty good about it. I felt like,
Okay.
relief. I
Yeah.
could let this go. Now, when I got back, I didn't turn all the notifications on either.
Right.
That's key. Because if you stop for just 3 days and you have 3 days out of 80 years, that's not really helping you.
Right.
You have to make a permanent change.
So then you schedule times to go to
That's
emails,
right.
you schedule times to go to Facebook, you schedule times to do those
Yep.
things, and it's intentional.
That's right. And I still use my in between time. Let me be really clear. If I'm not doing anything, I still use my in between time to do some Facebook. I
Yeah.
still use my in between time to make some comments, but I don't have notifications. Notifications don't drive me anymore. Now it's
Right.
about me time. I decide. Hey, I'm going to go to Facebook now. Okay, let's see what's going on here. Okay, good. Nothing. Okay, fantastic. But I was
Yeah.
there and now nothing's going on. And if I want to post something, I will. A lot of times I'm not even wanting to post anything. I'm a lot quieter as well. I mean, you probably see that, Ravi. You've followed me for a long time.
Yeah.
We've been friends a long time. I maybe post one thing a day and then
Yeah.
I'll comment back. I'll come back and I'll comment. I'll reply. I'll thank people for commenting. But I'm not on there all the time like I once was.
And I noticed too, a while back, you started doing some posts about the gratitude, the things you
Yeah.
were grateful for, and sharing that. So building that habit in as well.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, three things I'm grateful for every day. Now I don't share it every day, but when I do, I can tell you a lot of times I get good responses and I'll get private messages of thank you for reminding me to be grateful for the little things too. Cuz I'm not grateful for big things. I'm grateful for little things. The other day I was grateful for the fact that one of my kids brought donuts to school cuz I forgot breakfast that morning. So I was really grateful for that. I was grateful that we had coffee in the break room.
Yeah.
Really really thankful for that. So little things. Little things add up.
So, a couple of things coming out of this moving forward is to really create the shift. It's to do that cold turkey for a week, whether you go on vacation or not. So if you're still working, you schedule, and this is what I do with a lot of my coaching clients, that you schedule a time in the morning and in the afternoon to do emails. The rest of the time, the notifications are off, even on the computer. You're doing your work. Then you don't turn those notifications back on. It's going to take an adjustment period. Give yourself that. Make sure you've got some sort of a pressure valve so that you can, realize, okay, it's not, the world isn't blowing up. I love the gratitude. That gets to the happiness is where you are. So you're being more focused, being more present. And I think it's still okay to have goals, but you be present in the journey. If you want to accomplish something, you can still set an objective, but it doesn't become your obsessive focus, and it doesn't determine whether you are good or bad
That's right. Yeah, and I
doing
think
this.
that's a really important point. Whether or not I hit my goals is irrelevant. I can still be happy on the journey, and if I get close to my goal, that's great. And if I don't get close to my goal, then I have to assess was it really that important? Because
Right,
sometimes, again, we set goals for other people, not for ourselves. We think
right,
other people want them. Now, that being said, if you're an executive at a high-powered company and you've got monetary goals, that's a kind of a different story. You have to do the things, build your processes in, build your systems in that you can do that other people can help with that. But I'll tell you what, a lot of times we think we're more important than we are.
yeah.
A lot of times I think I'm more important than I am. And if I'm really honest, I'm just a normal guy. I'm not that
Well,
important. And I don't mean that in any negative and I don't mean that in any negative way. What I mean is the world's not going to end when I do. So why not be present?
yeah, just as a wrap up, it reminds me of, I remember way back in high school, I was so involved with stuff. I would videotape basketball games for the basketball coach so he could do things. I was involved with dances and helping the rec committee, running the winter carnival. And in my arrogance, I remember at 17 years old when going, what is the school going to do now that I'm gone? You know what? It kept going. You know,
Yep.
not meaning to diminish us. The contributions we make are great, but you're right. The world is going to continue, and it creates space for someone else to step up.
Yep. And that's really the best thing we can do.
Yeah. But it's about living our journey and being happy on our journey right now. And the only other thing too, thought that came up when we were having a chat is that people need to start taking time to define what does happiness mean. It's not based on what other people think it should be. What does it mean you know, for you? So, Phil, I want to move on to our lightning round, but before that, where can people find you in terms of your blog? Because you have some great stuff that,
Thanks. Yeah, just go to happyaf.substack.com. Pretty simple. That's happy, af.substack.com. I've got a podcast up there that's got some 400 past episodes that I've had a lot of guests and a lot of articles. I do archive them for paid subscribers after a month. So, but you'll see a lot of stuff up there, lots of stuff. And if there's something that you see that you don't, that you need, or you don't see that you want to see, let me know and I'll do some research and I'll write the article up for you.
That's awesome. Thank you, Phil. Truly, truly appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Check it out, check it out. Oh, are you ready for this?
Now it's time for the lightning round.
All right.
So the rules here are no thinking, first thing that pops to mind. Okay.
Yeah.
So introvert or extrovert?
Extrovert.
What's the most favorite job you've ever had?
Being a teacher.
Okay. What's the goofiest thing you've ever done?
I got married after 3 days.
Oh, wow. Okay. I did not realize that part. What's the best compliment you've ever received?
I don't know. Probably that you're someone that I can trust.
That's a biggie. What's your biggest failure and what did you learn from it?
The biggest failure, let's see. I would say, the day I got my driver's license, I got in a car accident
Oh,
and I almost killed myself. And the thing that I learned from that is that life is precious.
yeah, very much. As a child, what did you want to be when you grew up?
A baseball player.
Okay. What's your most important ritual?
My most important ritual is my gratitude.
Mm-hmm. Who do you admire?
I admire all my teachers, for sure. All of them. I'm still friends with my kindergarten teacher on Facebook.
Wow.
Judy Marhefka very much. And all the teachers that have been around me. I can tell you, all of them from kindergarten, from preschool, all the way to senior year.
That's amazing.
Yep. And many of them I still keep in contact with. In my little hometown of 996 people.
How do you nourish yourself?
I take time to rest and sleep. It's a big one. That's the biggest thing.
What do you want to be remembered for?
Someone who cared.
Okay. What's your purpose in life?
To reach 1 million people with teaching them how to be better people for them. Not for me, but for them. So whatever better means for them. Happier. If they want to be more successful, whatever it is, I want to reach 1 million people. That's my purpose.
I love it.
That.
Sorry?
And this podcast will help me with that.
Absolutely.
Hear it.
Well, thank you, Phil. This has been amazing. So great to catch up. It has been way, way, way too long.
It sure has, my friend. Thank you, Ravi.
Thank you. And this has been SOULgineering, your life and work. And I will see you next week.
I got the energy, it's all I need to finish. And